Hi folks, welcome to MTS. Today we have a MTH, New York Central GP-9 diesel locomotive that I recently bought on eBay. The description stated that it operated in forward, neutral, and reverse, but didn't have any sounds. This is an original Proto Sounds unit from the mid-90s. So my thought is it may just need a full Proto Sounds reset, or at the worst case, a top board replacement. Let's get it out of the styrofoam insert and get it over to the workbench. What caught my attention to this locomotive in particular, and I had to do some research, are these torpedo tubes that were mounted to the roof. This was actually prototypical for this era, mainly for passenger trains. In my research, there wasn't enough room under the engine, so they mounted these air tubes right on top. I thought it was pretty unique, and I don't have such a diesel in my collection. So let's go ahead and remove the shell, see what we got. Something I just noticed is that it has a run program switch on the chassis. I've come across this once before where there was a combination TMCC setup that utilized the original Proto Sounds. This may be that same application, as I am seeing some other modifications on the chassis as well. Now I'm really anxious to get this apart. Okay, so started with this screw on the front. Already took that out, and I'm going to take out these two screws here. And I believe there's one right back here. Let's see if that takes it off. Well, that ain't a Proto Sound setup. Nope. This is actually a TMCC conversion. Did I work on this one? Not a professional conversion, but someone knew what they were doing. Solder points to the main board and heat shrink tubing throughout. Looks like the lighting is in place, and there's the antenna. So, very interesting. Okay, let me zoom you in because a couple things I'm finding here. Let's try to get this zoomed out. I don't want these wires to disconnect. There we go. If you can see, this actually says Train America Studios. So now I'm even more curious on this. Very interesting. I'm going to just go ahead and put the shell, just kind of loosely put it back in place. I've got the handrails, I'll just leave off of it for now, but I'm anxious to see. This may just be a perfectly working function where the previous owner just didn't know that it was changed over, maybe? I don't know. Anxious to get that on there. The only thing that's bothering me, I'm not seeing any kind of volume control. It does have a speaker. I see the speakers actually underneath this printed circuit board, but I'm not seeing any kind of volume control or manual volume control anyway. And I know with the TMCC remote, I can adjust the volume on it. So maybe that's all we're going to do on this one. But I'm anxious. Let's get this on the layout and see, get it in TMCC mode and see what we have. We may have a perfectly good working unit here. Okay, folks. So I put the shell back on loosely in place and made sure all the wires are cleared, as it's a pretty snug fit. I've put the engine in program mode, as I'm not sure what number addresses the locomotive. I'll try the program mode first and program as number 48, and we'll go from there. So it looks like we have light. And I'm going to go ahead and punch in 48. And let's see if it'll accept it. I'm going to hit the set button at the bottom. And I'm not seeing anything here. Okay, folks, so I brought it back to the workbench. I've got this test unit. So what I'm going to do is pull off the individual boards. And also notice there's Train America Studios on here as well. So I'm not sure if that was Lionel's version or this is an aftermarket. Not 100% on this. I actually picked this up from a train show a few years ago. Thought it'd be handy to have. So I'm going to pull there's 3 individual boards, right? So we have the remote board, the audio board, and the power board. So I'm going to remove those 3 boards from here, plug them into here, see if I can actually program it. Because if I can program it there, at least, maybe it'll work on here. Not sure. We're just trying a few different things here. Worst case, I've got 3 working boards, right? So anyway, we'll work through it and see what we can come up with. There we go. Okay, so I've kind of got it loosely, just kind of the wires laying on the track over here, or actually just where they're basically touching the track. I've got my cab 2 remote, so I'm going to give it some power. I'm going to put it in program mode. So there we go. We're going to put it in program mode, and I'm going to go ahead and program it as number 48. At least that way I know for a fact it's programmed. And then we can see if we have sound, if we have forward, reverse, so on and so forth. It's got these indicator lights that are there, and then I actually have my volume control here, my speaker, and each time, like if I do the coupler, front, back coupler, it's got all the different lights to show if it's working or not. Okay, so that's basically front light is on. We got our volts. Everything looks good there. Let me go ahead and try to program it. If it's in program mode, we'll go hit set on number 48. Okay, let me turn it off. We'll put it back to run. So it's programmed as number 48 now. Switch it over to the run setting. Just go hit the horn. And I can just do the front coupler, rear coupler, so those work. Let's see if we got the bell. Bell sounds are working. Let's give it some forward. So now my forward light's on. Reverse. So my rear light's on right now. We're going to go reverse. Okay, let's go back to the front light. Okay, looks like everything is working. This is awesome. I mean, 3 of these boards themselves are worth what I have in this purchase. Now I'll replace the boards back in the engine. I know now that it's programmed as number 48, so we'll see if we can't make it work. folks, so I got it all back together. Let's give it some power and see if we can't get it to run. Okay, got forward. Back light came back on. There's reverse. Okay, well there we go. Now let's see. Let me see if I can do some programming on this to see if I can't get the sounds to work. Info. This is TMCC. Just regular rail sounds. So I'm trying to turn it up with the volume control, and that's not working. I'm going to see if I can't figure out how to get the sounds to work, because we know it's a working sound card. We obviously, when we tested it, everything worked like it was supposed to. So I'm assuming that it's just the way this is wired, and it looks like it has some questionable wiring, we'll say. So, but I can go back through that, see if I can come up with the reason why the sounds aren't working, and then we can go from there. But right now, yeah, I'm pleased with this purchase. Let me zoom you in, folks. This is so I was inspecting. I had just taken the shell back off the unit. I was inspecting the wires, and I'm basically using this testing board to try to figure out what goes where. So here's my 2 wires for my speaker. I was able to trace those down, so they're going right into this one spot on the board, the middle ways. So I was actually just kind of looking at that, and then I just barely lifted this wire up, and as you can see, it just came right off. So that may be just my only problem, but the thing is, I've got to get, now I'm going to resolder this wire. I'm going to check the soldering connection on the other one as well, but it looks like there's a single screw, some kind of a carpenter screw of some kind, that's holding this entire apparatus in place here. So my plan is get this undone, and then I'm going to resolder this wire to the speaker, see if that is our solution. Okay, so I've got that screw undone, but all of the other wires are really holding this in place. So I'm just going to kind of position this where I can get a soldering iron down inside this little chamber here, and see if I can't just solder it without having to take it all apart. Well, they could have left me just a little bit of slack on this wire. There's barely enough to make this connection. Here, let me slide this back so you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. So yeah, there's barely enough room to even make the connection, but I'm going to just grab a pair of needle nose pliers and see if I can get that soldered back in place. Have my solder already, and heating up the iron right now. Okay, folks, I think I got it. I had to extend the needle on this quite a bit in order to get it, but I feel like it's a nice secure connection. I'll put all this back together. We'll get it back to the layout and see if that was our problem. Okay, we're back to the layout. Got my cab 2 remote. I'm going to go ahead and get some power. Let's see if this works. There we go. Let's run a few laps around the layout. Well, there you have it, folks. I guess you really never know what you're going to get. Again, what drew me to this listing were what they call the torpedo tubes on top of the engine. I'd never seen that before. It looked really cool. And I did verify it is part of an actual model that MTH put out back in the mid-90s. There again, totally thought I was just getting a Proto 1 unit with maybe a bad sound card or something where I would have to replace the top card. It ended up having a perfectly working TMCC setup. There's still some things I need to tweak when rotating the dial to accelerate the engine rev is faster than the physical movement. Going to experiment with that to see if I can find a solution there. Again, perfectly happy with this purchase. Going to be a great runner and looking forward to using it to pull some New York Central passenger cars. I actually contemplated putting this video out there just because it's really unique, not something you will find on the regular. But at the same time, I like sharing some of these experiences. Thinking it's going to be one thing turns out to be something totally different. And working nonetheless. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Thanks for watching. I'll see you down the line.